One of the things that I think we do a disservice to each other in the Christian community when we talk about prayer sometimes, and that we talk about it like it's just going to be the most natural thing. Like, well, just having a conversation. It's super easy. Some of you are extroverted people who find having conversations super easy. A lot of us are super awkward in any given social situation, and having conversations in general is not super easy, and certainly prayer ends up being one of those. It is not actually the most natural thing we do, and it's helpful to learn how to do it. How do we pray? And I'm not talking about exactly how we hold our body, and if you stick your foot this way and point it that direction and your hand goes this direction, God's more likely to answer your prayers. I don't mean any of that stuff. I mean, what do we say? How are we supposed to pray? It's part of why Jesus' disciple went to him, what do we do? We've got this prayer that we say all the time. We've got little blessings that we say over food and in the morning and at night, but how should we actually pray? So if you're somebody who struggles to pray or feels like you don't really know how, that's totally okay and totally normal. There is not anything in that you need to feel bad about. I want to give you a little memory thing that has helped me to think about how we cover prayer, and then we'll look at how this shows up in the prayers, in the prayer that Jesus taught. So it's a little acronym. Spells out the word pray. You may be familiar with other acronyms that help do this, but the acronym goes this way. It's praise, request, admit, and yield. Praise, request, admit, and yield. Part of prayer is praise, and not because God is in need of our flattery, but because it rightly orients us to what is true about the world that we live in. That God is the king, that he is in charge, that he is good, that he is loving, that he is trustworthy. We praise, we recognize that God is who he said he is, and we root our prayer in that foundation of trustworthiness and faithfulness. And then we request. R is request. We actually say, God, this is what I need. This is what I think I need. This is what I want. God is not afraid of your wants. Right? He loves you. He wants to bless you. And he is not going to bless you with every little thing that you want if it's going to be bad for you, because he loves you and cares about you. But he wants our requests. Prayer is this conversation. It is a conversation with a perfect parent who loves us. And part of our conversations with our parents when we are dependent on them is requests, needs, wants, request and response. We admit that we can't do it all, that we can't make all of these things that I want happen. I am limited in ways that I wish I was not, and I need help. We admit that we have messed up, that there are ways that we have hurt ourselves, hurt other people, that we have failed to live up to those instructions that God gave. We admit that we are in need of help to do rightly. We admit that we are in need of forgiveness and grace. And we yield. And none of this has to be in a certain order, that it's not a straight line. It all goes in circular. It's a conversation. If it helps you to check the boxes, great. But my brain just works in more roller coaster loops than that. That's fine. We praise, we request, we admit, and then we yield, which I know is a slightly awkward word because in the actual text in English, it tells us to not yield to temptation. That is not what I mean. I mean that we yield to God being in charge. We say, okay, God, I admit that I am not in control, and I need you to do the things that only you can do. And so, God, it is your kingdom. And I want your will to be done. God, this is, you're the Lord. You will lead my life. You're the one that I need. Praise, request, admit, and yield.